Hi, listeners. Welcome to another Melting Pot episode. As you know, it's a series of conversations with very, very inspiring people who I think they're also change makers and they've done some phenomenal work in whatever sphere that they may be in. So today I am really, really excited to be talking to a very special guest. His name is Tanmay Dhanania. I hope I've got
Hang
the
on.
last name correct.
Close enough.
Okay, and then you correct me after. Okay, so Tanmay is actually by education a nuclear engineer who studied at Berkeley's in California, and then he transitioned to become an actor. So thank you once again for joining me today, Tanmay, and please tell me that Dhananya is the right way of pronouncing your last name.
Thank you so much for having me, Payal. First of all, this is such a surprise. I wouldn't call myself inspirational, not just yet, but thank you anyway for having me on. And yeah, it's not bad. Like it's Dhanania, but really you've come closest to it than most people I know. So don't worry about
Okay.
that.
Thank God for that.
And I
Okay.
must add also that I studied nuclear engineering, but I also did study acting after that. I trained at RADA. So
Okay.
I did go on to train in acting. And then, I mean, before that also I used to act, but after that, my proper, I suppose, professional career started after that.
Okay. Firstly, you mentioned to me that you're originally from Calcutta, but you now have a home in Goa, and that's where you're talking to me from. So, how many years of your life did you actually spend in Calcutta?
I spent the first 18 years of my life in Calcutta. I grew up there. My family's still there, my parents and everyone. And very interesting time because it was the 90s basically when I grew up there. And things were really changing in India. India was opening up and like things were coming in, but Calcutta was lagging behind slightly. So we didn't have much growing up. You know, we would play some cricket, some football, things like that. And then when I was 18, I got the scholarship to study engineering. And basically, I wanted to take it as a ticket to get out because by the time you turn 18 and you're in this big joint family setup, you just want to get out. You want to like explore the world. So then I spent 4 years in the States. Then I came back to Calcutta. After finishing my engineering, I did theater in Calcutta, which was very tough for my family, I think. They were like, what are you doing with your life?
That's quite a
Yeah,
dramatic change. But
yeah,
and so is that when you had the theater group called Tin Can?
correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So Tin
Okay.
Can, it was started by two of my closest friends who I've known for more than 20 years now, Taranji Das Gupta and Shomokanti Devishash. And they were actually school friends of mine. So we were the three people who used to do theater in high school.
Okay.
But what happened was they come from Bengali families, which are more culturally attuned, and the families sort of allow them space to kind of pursue their artistic pursuits. Whereas I come from a much more conservative North Indian, Rajasthani, Marwadi family in Calcutta.
Right.
So that wasn't available to me, especially when I was 18. Like, I think if I'd said I want to be an actor, my dad would have just like chopped my head off. So, which he did later on as well. But like by that time, it was too late when I said later on. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's why I got the scholarship and I went to the States. But it was a bug with me. I could not get it out of my system, acting and theater, especially the stage. So I saw this flyer on campus which said free pizza night for like this group called Theater for Charity. I'm like, theater. So I went for the free pizza and I said, hey, I've done some theater in Calcutta. I don't mind doing backstage work and whatnot. I can contribute. And they said, no, you should audition. I said, but I mean, like, I don't know how it works here. I don't have the accent. I look different and all that. And they were very encouraging there. So I did a play. I auditioned and I got into a play, and that was a huge hit. So that's how, like, again, that bug came back to me. And over the years I was there, I started doing some department productions for Berkeley. And if you do department productions, you get college credit towards your graduation. And
Oh,
I realized if I do two more acting classes, I'll get a minor in theater. So that's when I took those classes. And then I had life-changing teachers, Reed Davis, Marty Berman, Lura Dollas, who like the love, that's the word I keep going back to nowadays. The love that they gave me, like they were like, this is what you do. As in, not even, I mean, obviously they liked what I did as an actor, but they were like, you are so happy when you do this. Like, you must do this. Like, and they were saying that we don't even tell this to people because it can be a miserable life being an actor, which, yeah, it can be quite up and down. But please do this because you're so happy when you do this. And I realized that inside of me. So that's what happened. So when I came back, Tin Can had already been started by Tanaji and Kanti, and Kanti was more of a writer-director. Tanaji was more of an actor-producer, and I came on board also like more as like a lead actor, producer kind of person. So the three of us and many other very talented people from Calcutta. There was a zeitgeist happening basically at that time. So we worked with some amazing musicians like Jivraj Singh of Parak and Singh fame, Tajdar Junaid, some amazing designers, some amazing costume people who are all doing really well around the world now. Vishal Nayak is an amazing musician based out of New York now. So I think we just caught that zeitgeist at the right time where we just all came together, and it was just it came from pure passion for theater. And all of us young people decided that we will not just do amateur theater. We decided that we will do professional theater. We will like commit our lives to this. So that's what Tin Can was all about.
Okay, and so how far were you able to take it? How many years did you actually invest in Tin Can?
So Tin Can for me, actually, it was only a 2-year window because I came in from the States. It was already running for a year and a half. But those 2 years were magical. We were touring all over the country. We won awards in like this festival called Thespo in Bombay, which is the premier theater festival for under 25s at that time. And our alumni, like, the people around us at that time, I don't know if you know all Indian actors, but there's like amazing actors like Ali Fazal, who's doing so well internationally, Shweta Tripathi, Hussain Dalal, Pritika Chawla, Prerna Chawla. All these were like Namit Das, like they were all around us. And they all loved what we did. And it was a very amazing experience for us. But not only that, we performed Calcutta. We definitely were a very well-known group amongst the youth, but also amongst the critics, amongst the slightly older generation as well. We were doing very passionate political theater, so to speak.
So sorry, you were just doing English theater, or were you also?
No, so that was the difference. Basically, we were like, theater is a language of its own. So our plays had English, Hindi, and Bangla. We were very adamant that we will not slot into the Bangla theater, which has a certain tradition, or the English amateur theater in Calcutta, which also has a certain tradition. I'm not throwing shade at them, they're all, they exist in their own right, and I respect that. But we were young people, right? And we were like, enough with these old fogies. And we have to just make work and do it. And also we made original work. That was very important to us, that we write our own plays, we devise it, we develop it with this young group of people. We didn't see the point, especially with the amateur English theater, to sort of rehash old scripts and kind of just put it up. We were like, that's not theater. So, but again, these are very extreme views that I have. So no, offense.
Yeah. No, so you basically, what I'm understanding is that you reinvented yourselves as a group, and you took advantage of the fact that there was so many of you who were passionate. And I think passionate is a great driver to sort of to grow anything. And yeah, so that's quite interesting, the way you guys got together and you actually created a name for yourself. Because I also know that, not that I know much, but I do have an idea that Bengal or Calcutta is culturally very, very enriched when it comes to, you've got stalwarts like Satyajit Ray, and when it comes to literature, when it comes to theater, music, I can understand that it probably was, it needed that, you were at the point where you needed to bring about newness and some, and bring in young thinking. And which is
completely. I must add also that basically we stand on the shoulders of giants. So exactly the names you said, there's in theater, there's Shomu Mitro, there's Utpal Dotto, these guys, again, they set up the space, and Calcutta is such an open space for the arts. And also combined with, I must add, it's and it was back then even cheaper, such a cheap lifestyle you can lead. You can get by with such little money that was a huge encouragement for us. Huge. I don't think a group like us would have survived in a big city like Bombay or Delhi. Definitely not abroad, because you need a lot of different things and insurances and whatnot to start a theater group. You have to have a proper setup. And we were just as you said, a bunch of 20-year-olds who were kuch karte hain, right? Let's do this. Come on, guys. And that's all we had, and that's all we did. We literally, our idea was just to spontaneously explode. We were we rehearsed for 12, 15 hours, and really put our bodies on the line. And nothing mattered. Like, nothing else mattered. We were like, this is what we do. We do it because we love it, and got the space to do it. We got support from amazing quarters. Like a lot of sponsors came our way, and we went to Scotland. We performed in this youth theatre festival in Scotland, where they took 40 of us from Calcutta to
Wow.
Scotland, put us up there. I mean, that's a huge amount of money that was spent on us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And put us up there, and we met amazing Scottish groups there. It was definitely a wild time, and for me, very formative time for sure.
And I think these experiences probably will sort of, one, they develop you, two, they will stay with you, because it, like you said, it's, the formative time for you. So that's fascinating. So then obviously my next question is, how did cinema happen?
So that's a funny question, actually, because I really think, and actually I don't think it's true, cinema happened to me by default. So what happened was, after Tin Can, I went abroad to train again at RADA in London, which is like an amazing sort of training school.
Yeah.
And when I was in my second year, they changed all the visa laws, and suddenly, like, I could not stay back in the UK to work after having trained there for 3 years, especially not in the theatre, because, like, it was very difficult for theatre companies to get my visa sorted and all that.
Right.
So I actually nearly got cast in this Royal Court play. My first play out of drama school was Royal Court, and I was like so excited about it, and it was like a dream come true for me, because all I wanted to do was theatre. The stage was my love. I didn't like screen acting. I was like, you have to wait all day, and then you kind of have to do one thing, and it's just so technical and so like constricting, and I want to like explore. I want to like
be free.
On the screen. So anyway, what happened was, suddenly they were like, no, we can't do your visa though. And I'm like, no, I'll work for free. Please, please, please. That's what I want to do. So it was tough, because people wanted to work with me. I had an agent already who I still have, Michelle Braidman. She's fantastic. She's the love of my life in many lives. She's just stuck by me. So she encouraged me. So then she said, yeah, it's theater, like, like, it's just like the visas can't be worked out. So she sent me for my first sort of screen audition, which is for the BBC, for the show called New Tricks. And I was like, I don't know, what not. And she's like, just go for it. Just shut up and go for it. So I went there, and I remember that audition. It was terrible. I was stuttering through my lines. I was like, I lost all speech. Like, I was like so nonplussed. And I came out, I remember I rolled my cigarette and I lit my cigarette, and I called her and I said, Michelle, this is not working out. I don't think it's going to work out. She's like, oh, it's fine. And the next day she's like, you're on. And I'm like, what? They cast me? I was like,
universe was coping.
And that was like just a week before I had to come back from the UK. But anyway, I had to come back to India that very day, because the way the visas work, I'm not going to get into visas because that's a whole other podcast. But like, I had to fly back to India. So I went to Heathrow Airport. They sent a guy on a motorbike with the contract to Heathrow Airport. I signed the contract, got on the plane, and I had 2 weeks to get this visa. Now I'm in Calcutta and like, waiting for this visa to come in. And I'm like, oh my God. And it doesn't come in on time. And I call them and I'm so upset. I'm like, it didn't come. And they said, no, hold on one more day. And the next day it came. I flew to London, and that was the beginning of my screen career. I shot with to be very honest, I didn't know who they were at the time, but people like Dennis Waterman and Tamsin Outhwaite, who are like legends of the English television. Yeah. So that was quite an experience for sure.
How long was your involvement with that?
That was one. So I was a guest lead on an episode. So I shot for about a month in London in freezing cold, and I was like kind of, I think, finding my way still. Like, it took me. I think throughout your life as an actor, you're still kind of discovering things and ways and processes. So that point in time, I really didn't know how to kind of work on screen. So, but that was an interesting part. I played a doctor, but a nefarious doctor, and it was interesting. And then Indian Summers happened, which was like I guess my biggest UK TV show credit, because I did one episode in the first season, and then they liked my part so much that they brought me back as a regular for the second season. And that also, I think, part of the reason why I got cast in that, or like they didn't have much of a problem with me, was because they were anyway flying everybody to Malaysia. So, the visas and all weren't that big an issue. And I think the casting director and the team really liked a couple of short films of mine that I'd done before that. They liked my work, they liked my audition. So that was again a different, but like quite a amazing experience for me. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the money was great. Like British television has a lot of money. I still get royalties, which is amazing, which is what like I kind of fight for in India as well now, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, it was just, you were really well taken care of. You were really like sort of supported and listened to. And it was just a magnificent team with like Julie Walters, double Oscar nominee, in the cast. And I couldn't quite believe it, but I also was really happy to be there. And also like Fiona Glasscott, I always, there's so many names to take, but I feel like, there's not enough time.
And I mean, people you admire, and then suddenly you're like sharing screen time with them. I think
yeah.
So would you say, I mean, after Indian Summers, you've obviously done a lot more projects. And so would you still think that Indian Summers is closest to your heart and was the most satisfying, or there have been other roles that, or the other characters that you've played have really a special part in your heart? So
totally. I mean, Indian Summers, no, it wasn't. Yeah, I was still discovering myself, and that was still my UK television career. I really found a lot more relevance as an actor in India because I'm from here. I think as an actor, your identity is a very strong vector, indicator for your work as an actor. And I was enjoying myself in the UK and it was good work, but I wanted to explore something closer to me. I wanted to explore something which was more political again. I wanted to explore something where I had more agency and I could create, I could make something. And I wanted to be part of the discussion in India. So for me, it is like choosing between my children, like which character I love the most. But definitely for me, my films are the closest to me. The cinema that I've made with some amazing directors who gave me so much space to like work with these characters and grow these characters. And a couple of them I had produced as well. I did the acting coaching for most of the films I've acted in. It has been a stunning journey for me. And I couldn't be happier. Like Brahman Naman was my first film, my debut film. And that did change my life. I didn't even expect it to be that big, but it became really big. We went to Sundance. We were in competition at Sundance. We got bought by Netflix. We were Asia's first Netflix original. And that was definitely life-changing. I think a lot of the work I got after that was because of that starting takeoff point. And I have Q to thank. Q has been an amazing mentor for me. And apart from being my first director in India. So I worked with him on Brahman Naman. I did Garbage, which is very close to my heart, which was shot in Goa. I think my love story with Goa began when I was shooting Garbage here.
That's a feature, right? Garbage?
Yeah. So Brahman Naman and Garbage are on Netflix. Yeah. So these are all feature films I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
And then my third film is Catch Sticks, which is very close to my heart because I went back to Calcutta and I shot it on Calcutta streets. Again, with this zeitgeist kind of thing where Kanti, Tanaji, my friends from Tin Can, they produced and wrote it. And Ronnie, who's also another friend, he directed it. My other Tin Can friends like Sumit Thakur, who's a brilliant actor, he acted in it. So it was like coming back together again and making a movie now after doing theatre.
I mean, moving away from theatre to cinema.
Yeah.
You're listening to a fusion of stories recounted for the first time ever by some fascinating people from across the globe with me, Payal, on this very unique and special podcast series, Melting Pot.
Between the two platforms, have you sort of now transitioned to feeling that, because I remember earlier in the conversation you said the theatre and you never really thought cinema could be it, but do you now feel that that cinema is a medium that works for you? And in terms of emoting, in terms of being a part of the medium, theater is there are no retakes, right? Whereas cinema, there can be 100 retakes, not that you would want there to be 100 retakes. So how do you feel personally now at this stage in your career?
See, as I said, stage is my first love. I think any actor you ask who loves the stage or started at the stage, nobody will say they prefer film. And there's nothing to do with film. It's just, it's like the first love, that stage feeling, that intimacy of being in a shared breath space with this amazing, an audience, that smell of the stage, that the working culture behind the stage. It's just another thing. But again, I've been lucky enough, especially in India, to apply a lot of the theatre practices into the film work. So now I workshop, before, just how you rehearse a play before you put it on. I cannot do without workshops. When I make a film, I need 3 weeks at least beforehand, or sometimes months, 2 months for Catch Sticks, where I work on this character. I build something up. And I found my own process through it, and I've come to really enjoy it now. I've come to really, really enjoy it. I think some of the best times of my life in the last few years were when I was shooting Garbage, when I was shooting Catch Sticks, or more than shooting, right before it, when I was prepping for them. Because it was like go into a monk-like state. I kind of let go of like the outside disturbances and kind of just focus in on something. And there's a beauty to it, which I have really found. And now I want to do both. I don't want to let go of either. I do miss the stage a lot, and I haven't been able to be very honest. It is something to do with dates and about about how theater is not very lucrative at all in India. So it's difficult to put up something because you have to put a lot of time and effort, and then it's difficult to sort of tour it and stuff. So there have been theater shows I've made in India as well, or we've made with my friends. I did a play called Main Lover in 2016, which I toured Calcutta and Bombay. And then 2019, I went to London to do a play, which was amazing, on the RADA stage. And then what was really interesting is when all the theatre shut down last year, 2020, is when I made 2 plays, but online. And that was also like, one of them was the RADA commission, which again, my whole team came together again, the Tin Can team, me, Kanti, Tanaji, Bornila, Sumit, like all these friends of mine. Like, these are all dear friends of mine. I've known them for 20 years. We came together to make this play, and that was exhilarating, even though there was no stage, but just to like make theatre together on Zoom and then perform it on Zoom was amazing. I will never stop wanting to be on the stage everywhere in the world. Prithvi Theatre in Bombay is beautiful. It's so amazing to perform there. My dream, still is to like one day do something at the Royal Court, do something at the National Theatre. Like, it's those spaces are just oof. And Berlin, I went to Berlin with my film Garbage, and I watched theatre there, and I'm like, I want to do theatre. I want to do theatre everywhere. I want to I want to travel with it. I want to make it. I do teach as well. So I want to sort of, the dream going forward is that I set up a space in Goa where I do my teaching, and at the same time I can make some theatre, and hopefully theatres are slowly opening up, and keep that running, because that's the passion.
Yeah, but I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
So you don't have to even say that that's the passion, because it's just there. So you were saying that you are, that you mentioned before we started recording that you have recently done a Malayalam film. So are you now kind of experimenting with not just Hindi or English, but also regional cinema? How does it compare with, because there's a lot of cinema which happens in, India is such a big country, and there's so much happening in different parts of the country. Every kind of region has some amazing stuff happening. So is this something that you actively are looking at wanting to do, experimenting with different kinds of cinema within India?
Actively, I don't think I've ever actively tried to do something, or maybe being on the English stage was one thing I actively pursued, which didn't happen, but everything else kind of happened by default.
Right.
And I kind of go with the flow with that. To be very honest, for me, the first thing I see when I decide if I'm doing a film or not is the script. And this script just came out of nowhere to me. The filmmaker Tara, again, somebody who's such a loving person, Tara Ramanujan. She's a first-time filmmaker. It's a KSFDC film, the Kerala State Film Development Corporation film. So she called me out of the blue. I was like, hello, hi. And I was shooting something in Delhi at that time, I think. And she just seemed so earnest. And I'm like, yeah, send me the script, we'll see. Because I get people calling me and sending me scripts now and then. And then I read the script, and I remember it was 135 pages or something. It took me 3.5 hours to read. And I was just
mesmerized.
So yeah, it was such a stunning, beautiful script that she wrote. And it just moved me to no end. And obviously, because of the pandemic, shooting got pushed and whatnot. And thankfully, we managed to sort of get it going this year. And I was just looking forward to that film. I kind of said, I know I shouldn't say these things, but I said no to a couple of other Netflix things and whatever, money projects, because I was like, this film I can't let go of. This is so close to my heart, and such a beautiful story. And I'm acting with Kani Kusruti, if you know her and her work. She's stunningly amazing actor from Kerala. She also lives in Goa, by the way. And she just won the Kerala State Award for Best Actress for a film called Biryani. So Manish Madhavan has shot it. Again, he's also Kerala State Award winner for camera. So just a fantastic, wonderful team came together to make this. And obviously, like, like with an independent film, like going from the page to the screen, like, it will be a lot of difficulties were faced, and we are still facing them. And that's why I'm going back today to Kochi, because we have to finish off some things that we couldn't finish off earlier. So I'm going from tomorrow, like it's going to be hectic. Like I've got 3 days to like basically, it's like a big puzzle, right? When you're filming a film and there's some pieces missing. So we have to it's called patchwork. So you're going to put this piece there, that piece there, and hopefully tell the story in a more beautiful way.
In a way, it's great that I was then able to talk to you today, because otherwise you would have
gone
to a different zone altogether.
Yeah. It was really close. You know what? Like it was because you came through Eric, my manager, and everything. So I didn't even know how to like change it quickly. In India, we have this thing called WhatsApp culture, where like people just WhatsApp each other 5 minutes for a meeting and say, "Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it 4 hours later." And I think I've become guilty of that. But also, it's not just me. Now work happens like that. So everything changed on a dime. I was supposed to leave tomorrow, and suddenly they said I'm leaving today. I was supposed to not to like sort of say anything like that, but like I was supposed to have a shoot today in the morning, like a headshot shoot, which I had to cancel because of this. But not, it's fine. Like, like this is.
Thank you. Is all I can say.
I think because he came through Eric, I had no choice also, because he's sleeping right now. So I can't just email him and be like,
Sometimes the time difference, it actually is an enabler. It helps.
Exactly.
So I'm going to try and wrap it up quickly, because I know you did mention that you have to put a few things in a bag before you leave for the airport.
I mean, if you can see, like literally I'm in the middle of packing.
Oh my God. Okay. So we can pan back to you now.
Yeah.
So very quickly, what about Bengali films?
So I did do something in Bangla. In fact, this Malayalam film, I'm speaking Bangla because I play a Bengali migrant in Kerala, and it's a beautiful story where this Bengali migrant who's an artist comes to Kerala. He's an idol maker, the Durga Murtis. And he comes to Kerala and becomes a construction worker because jobs are hard to come by. So I spoke a lot of Bangla in that. I am not Bengali. Basically, like I have a North Indian accent when I speak Bangla. So Hindi actually is my first language. So, but the problem that happens is like the Hindi there's a saying called "Dhobi ka kutta, ghar ka na ghat ka," which means like you're neither here nor there. And that's what kind of happened with us being Hindi actors from Calcutta, where the Bengali acting community, it was hard for them to sort of take us in. And then we came to Bombay and they were like, yeah, but your Hindi is kind of weird. Like, because we speak this Calcutta Hindi.
Yeah.
So we worked on all these aspects, and now my Bangla is much better and my Hindi is also much better, because I then went to English and I didn't speak Hindi or Bangla for like years. Then I had to like kind of get back into it. So Bangla film, I am definitely up for. I did a Bangla web series also last year called Mafia. It's just, again, to be very honest, and this, coming from where we came from, like in the 70s and 80s and even 90s with Bangla cinema, and what's happening now is a huge plunge down. I think we've really really gone south, and that's really sad. Having said that, I'm really lucky to have worked with some really amazing directors who are working in Bengal. And if they challenge me with the Bangla script, I'm up for it, and I think it's almost there. I think I'm proving myself bit by bit. Like Catch 6 had a bit of Bangla. Then I did Mafia, where I had to speak a lot of Bangla. And now this Malayalam film also, I worked on my Bangla, and it's better. It's getting better and better. So I'm open to everything. I think there's amazing films being made on Assam. Reema Das is my favorite filmmaker in India. Village Rock Stars, and like Bulbul Can Sing. Like these are shattering films for me. Like Amis also is beautiful, which my friend Riju has shot. There's Malayalam films, there's Tamil films, Marathi films, Gujarati films. They're doing really good work. To be very honest, I don't think Bengali cinema is up there anymore in terms of regional cinema, like with what's happening.
It's probably still living in the,
even if it was living in the past, like it would have been better. I think I'll be brutally honest here. I think my perception of it is what's happened is it's trying too hard to like become modern and relevant, and like trying to ape Bollywood, which is itself, I'm not a big fan of Bollywood. So like in itself, it's so like tacky and and what is sad is that people in Bengal really look up to them. And I don't understand that. I don't understand all these amazing actors, filmmakers who kind of could hold their own in any right, and but they like sort of really look up to Bollywood as like that's the platform. It's the same as Indian actors or Indian sort of filmmakers looking up to Hollywood and be like, oh, that's the gold standard, which is I think is aspirational way of thinking, which is not good. And I think because I've lived in different countries and worked abroad as well, I kind of know that it's not about, oh, there is better and we have to like, India mein hai na, like, oh, it's imported so it's better, like it's from abroad so it's better, like it's Hindi cinema so that's like, because there's so much money in it, that means they're the best. And I don't think that holds true at all in terms of cinema that's being made. Like Hindi cinema also is going through a major slump, I would say, like in terms of artistry, in terms of storytelling. I mean, again, like there's amazing directors who are working there. I think there's a lot of things that they have to work against and really sort of fight hard to get the films that made that they want to make. And it's just a system that's kind of messed up. It's not their fault because they're super talented people, musicians, directors, actors. We have that. It's just the wrong people are getting the jobs also in some ways, especially in acting, that we all know. Like it doesn't work according to like who's really good or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can only hope for change, and we can hope for that the 5-10% of the work that is good and good people making it, that like we kind of stand up for what we believe in. I think that's very important, to have a spine as like artists, which I think it's just for me, like I can't believe it when I see these actors or whatever, these filmmakers who kind of like, I don't know, like I don't want to get too political about this, like but
Yeah,
you kind of get the drift. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I
Yeah.
get the drift. Yeah. So let's very quickly, before we wrap up, I just want to, you've had so many experiences working in theater and cinema. You've in India, outside of India, so you've got a very global perspective. A lot of my listeners are aspiring, actors or wanting to be filmmakers. What kind of advice would you give them?
In one word, find the joy or love. I mean, there's nothing that's more important. And this is a realization I kind of came to again last year, because like it doesn't matter. The hustle is there. Yes, you have to work hard. Nobody said it's going to come easy. It's not easy. It's a tough life. But go back to why you started doing this. And that's passion. That's love. I mean, you feel it now. It's from me. You were talking about like the day I lose my passion for this, I will stop. There is no point. Like if I wanted to make money, I would be a nuclear engineer in San Jose right now. Like I could have made some bucks, but like that wasn't the dream. The dream was this. So I don't want to do something just for the money anymore. I don't want to do something because I think it's good for me or my career, or like I'll please this person or that person, or like, I'll go to these parties and meet these people. I think hard work, obviously there's no substitute for it, but enjoy it as well. You have to enjoy the hard work basically. So just find that joy, find that love for it, because it really sets you free. Then it doesn't matter. Then you can like do whatever you want and you will constantly be happy. It will be constantly something that will fulfill you and fill you up with everything that you need. It's very, very, very fulfilling. This life, this work. And it's not about like, getting known. It's not about like, oh, people seeing your films and saying like how good you were, which is nice. I love that. But
I mean, appreciation is always welcome.
Exactly,
it gives you that encouragement to keep going. So yeah.
The process, like for me, you have to love the process. You have to love this life. You have to enjoy that this is going to be like an up and down crazy ride. But just get on for it, like don't do halfway things, like if that's what your heart is saying, I think go for it. Because a lot of people and India, I mean, now people are opening up, like even parents are like, yeah, I want to make my son an actor. The first time I heard that from an Indian parent, I was like, what? Like, it was nuts. I'm like, you want your kids to become actors. This is like completely unheard of, unless you are yourself an actor. But yeah, I think that's it. Joy and love.
Joy and love. On that note, thank you so much, Tanmay. It's just, despite the fact that we had a few internet glitches, but I think it's just been such a fun conversation. And I've really genuinely enjoyed chatting with you. And, I like what appeals to me is the honesty. And, and I can see it. I mean, I can hear it. I can hear the passion, and I can hear the passion that's giving you the drive to actually go out there, and I can hear how fulfilling it is for you, and and I think that's just such an incredible journey. And you mentioned to me earlier that you're not, you haven't gotten to the point of being that inspiring, but I don't agree with you there. I think you are super inspiring, and I'm sure my listeners are going to agree with me there. So thank you so much. And I think you better go finish your packing so that you can manage to navigate the Goa traffic. I don't know if there is traffic.
There's not that much anymore, but there is, yeah. But it's also far away. The airport is quite it's like an hour and a half at least from here. So.
Oh, wow. So so we don't want any glitches there. So you make it onto your flight and take care. And lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much, Payal.